very good evening, everyone, and happy Independence Day. Welcome to SSVM EduTalk, and I'm Srisha, Director of Education at SSVM Institutions, and I'm going to be interviewing a very special speaker today. And this is SSVM EduTalk's fourth episode, and we have received marvelous compliments from our students, parents, and teachers, and on the various topics discussed on EduTalk the past few weeks. So indeed, this is not possible without the support of our awe-inspiring speakers and all of you. So I would like to thank everybody for watching this episode on this very special occasion on our Independence Day. Today, we have none other than Lieutenant Esan here with us. Welcome, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Happy Independence Day to everyone, and to you too.
Thank you. Happy Independence Day. So, action speaks. That is the principle he lives by. And Lieutenant Esan is an action-packed commander of a Voluntary Disaster Rescue Squad, whose members include highly trained officers from Tri-Services and Coast Guard. So in celebration of our Independence Day today, Lieutenant Esan and I thought we'll share our viewers a short visual of Sir's patriotic contribution to our nation.
Batch we have rescued is a group of sick people, some of them mentally sick also, and pretty aged, and they all can't walk.
Okay.
So we have put
After
them.
After how many days are you all coming here? What were they doing all these 4 days?
No, we are there right from day one of the floods, and today we were given here because when we started, most of the roads are blocked. So we could not access most of the roads, and we kept on stay wherever there is a roadblock, and there was a rescue, so we finished the rescue in those areas. So today we were directed here, and fortunately roads were cleared, so we could reach this place.
Where are you moving them to right now?
We are moving them to the nearest road possible where they can take a vehicle. Wherever there's a four-wheeler available to carry them, we are trying to take them.
So are they going to the hospital or relief camp?
Yes, they are going to the relief camp, and some of them need to go to the hospital because they are sick.
Category பாத்தீங்கன்னா இந்த கேட்டகரியில நம்ம எல்லாருக்குமே உள்ள இருக்க ஒரு உணர்வு அந்த let me call upon Lieutenant Mr. Esan ஒரு கை தட்டலோட So Lieutenant Esan, Training Commander Center for Career and Uniform Services and Commander of Rescue Squad. அவர் வந்து கிட்டத்தட்ட 450 பேரை காப்பாத்திருக்காருங்க. First of all, இப்போ சர்வீஸ்ல இருக்க எந்த அதிகாரியும் வந்து அவார்டு வாங்க முடியாது. எந்த ஒரு பிரைவேட் அவார்டும் வாங்கக்கூடாது. பிகாஸ் அவார்டு ரிவார்டுக்காக நாங்கள் வேலை பண்ணலை
அதுக்காக நாங்கள் சர்வீஸ்க்கு வரல அப்படின்னு உறுதிமொழி எடுத்து தான் நாங்கள் வந்து யூனிஃபார்மே போட்டிருக்கோம்.
Round of applause and welcome Mr. Esan. வாங்க சார். வெல்கம் டு சூப்பர் சிங்கா. ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு.
Thank you very much. So your leadership activities in all areas, from training new generation officers to rescue efforts during floods as well as this pandemic, requires a great deal of courage and bravery. So when I had the opportunity to watch all your videos at a full length, sir, you are very humble as you passionately describe the achievements of the officers you have trained and the personal growth they have experienced, right? So one for all and all for one. So that is very well seen during your speeches at every event. So thank you again for being present here with us on this very special day.
Thank you very much, and for all those special compliments from you. And also, it is nice that people like you run institutions, encourage our boys, encourage our activities, because that's a rare entity these days.
Thank you very much, and it's our privilege. We definitely know we're making an impact in lives at least.
Thank you.
So beginning with our interview,
right.
Our topic for the day is what makes a true patriot.
True patriot.
And I would like to begin with that as the first question for you, sir. What
question?
Makes
Okay.
a true patriot?
Okay. If I can answer that in a single line, then it becomes so easy, and we can transform everyone. But like I always used to speak on, action speaks. So a true patriot is also someone who, by his actions, her actions, demonstrates patriotism. Patriotism is today a lot in our writing and a lot in our talks. But when it comes to action, then 99.99% display nothing. It's only that 0.1, who are really on the ground. So what makes a true patriot is someone who demonstrates patriotism by action on the ground when the nation is in trouble. Okay, be it any trouble. Okay, it need not be every time a disaster. Be it any trouble. Now, when we say nation, it is for a common man, it is his own street, right, or his next door. Now, his own house becomes his duty. But anything beyond his compound wall and his gate requires some patriotism. He must feel that it is as good as my place, and he must attend to whatever issues are there. That is patriotism ultimately. So it is only actions that speak or displays patriotism and make someone a true patriot.
Very true indeed. I think we should all practice that.
Yeah. We should practice that, and we should practice someone to be to expand his to expand his ownership and think beyond his family. And it is you can't call this service. It's ultimately you help someone, and then you get the reciprocation. At the end of the day, whether you believe in karma or not, or the Newton's law, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, right? So someday, somewhere, when you are lying in a pool of blood in an accident or somewhere, there's somebody to pick you up and put you in the hospital on time. So we must realize that, it's as simple as that. We must realize that, and then expand and look beyond our our close circle.
That's very true, actually. I think that's the whole reason of humanity and being born, I would say.
Correct, exactly.
We should all remember that every second, and there were others.
Correct.
So in the lines of that, when does a citizen become a true patriot?
Okay.
What is that one quality he or she should possess that qualifies him or her as a patriotic citizen?
As a patriotic citizen. Okay. So in continuation, like, the earlier answer that I had given is more of, you can say, philosophical or more of an emotion. But if I have to give you a tangible answer, like an action plan to actually display or demonstrate patriotism, then I would say that, the most important thing. Okay, let us make this slightly interesting by, like, since I understand that I'll not be able to interact with the children around. So let me consider you as the audience also, and ask you a few questions. Actually, one question, and so that we derive the answer from there. Okay. Now this exactly happened 3 days back when I was seated with two chaps who are joining the armed forces now. One of them has already joined and he was on a break, and so we had all connected online with the other aspirants. And there is this psychology test, one of the psychology tests where you need to frame a sentence. Now the children can connect to what I'm saying because this starts right at second standard. You need to frame a sentence with a given word. But over here, what happens is the word is displayed only for a few seconds, right? On 15 seconds. And likewise, you have to answer about 60 words. And this is one of the 17 tests we undertake to qualify to become an officer. It's one of the toughest in India or rather the world. The US and all these advanced armies, defense forces follows that. So, so there was this word God, right? Now, God is one of the most, let us say, controversial word today. Right? The moment you take it, then there is, there's burning and destruction everywhere rather than construction. God is such a lovely entity that we have, jeopardized it completely. So now, so this word came up, and then we were trying to coin. I mean, they were trying to coin sentences, and then my turn came, and then they said, "Sir, why don't you give us a sentence?" And then I was like, I gave a sentence like, "Okay, now let me ask you." So we will go from you. So why don't you give me one sentence with the word God?
I believe God is a supreme power, and it's a positive energy.
Okay, so let's take a small sentence out of it. So you believe God is supreme power is one, and the other sentence could be positive energy, right? Positive energy. Okay. Now, if I have to tell you to give me a little more realistic statement, but these are beyond our vision, right? It is connected probably with the soul. Can you give me a more realistic statement with God?
Well, we haven't really met this person, but that this particular entity is beyond humanity or beyond humankind, and the sole reason for the existence of our planet or existence of even human beings or any creature on this
is God. Yeah, be it any God. Yeah. So likewise, I got similar responses from many, and then I had to give my opinions, and most of the time I said these are emotional or rather eternal statements where you don't have any logic. So when it came to my turn, I said our country is God.
Wow.
Okay, this was the instant statement I coined. Okay, it came instantly, and I never expected people to ask me. But then when it came to me, I just thought for a second and then gave this: our country is God. Now this is again an emotional statement. So they immediately bounce back. They said, "Sir, come on, you are again being emotional." So I said, "No, I'm being very, very practical and very, very logical, and let me give you the explanation." So I said, "See, during this epidemic, right, when this started around March till date, what is happening around the world? What is happening around the world is those infected or those who are in other countries, those Indians who are in other countries, whether they are infected or not, they must have gone as tourists, they must have gone on working visa or for any or on business visits, wherever they are, they were sent back to their motherland. When an issue erupted in the entire world, the world chose to send back the citizens to their original place. They never took care of them. Right? Those in UAE were sent back to India. Those in US or any different parts of the world, they sent them back to their own place. Now, it did not stop there. Actually, they were not sent back. They were picked up by our own people. We sent aircrafts. The Vande Bharat mission was all about it, right? We sent aircrafts and we sent ships from the Indian Navy and Coast Guard and picked them up. Some of my boys were part of this mission, right? We picked them up from various parts of the world, brought them back to their homeland, quarantined them, made them feel safe, ensured they are not infected, sent them back home, and gave them peace. So what do you call this? The country is God ultimately, right? When you are stuck in the middle of nowhere and you say, God help me, Vande Bharat mission starts, right? So we can make an emotional statement that we are separated by these boundaries and politicians ruling them and having formalities like visa and all that, but that is reality. Today, if you cross your boundary, you are, if you go beyond our Pakistan border, you may not even survive, right? The first thing they will do is capture you, and if you can be utilized, they'll be killing you. That's the reality. People can sit in Tamil Nadu and say so many things about Pakistan, so many lovely things about Pakistan, but ultimately, they are also insecure. When they see a foreigner, they also feel insecure. The same thing happens on the other side in China also, right? So ultimately, it is your homeland, it is your motherland that can safeguard you, right? So this is when people. So you ask the foreigners, you ask the Indians who were abroad, right? You ask the Indians who were stuck abroad, who were stranded, and they will tell you our country is God, because they would have also realized then only, right? Number one. Number two is now talk about the people within our country. Let's talk about a common man. Right? When this epidemic erupted and a common man was infected, then the government took care of them. Can't you deny it? Can you deny it? You can't deny it. You and me, probably we can afford a private hospitalization, but look at the common man. The government took them, quarantined them. If the infection was in the initial stages, or if it was severe, they transferred them to a government facility, gave them the necessary treatment, putting them in ICU, and somehow the survival rate is definitely larger than the casualty, right? So somehow the government helped the people get back, and are still doing it, right? So don't you think they're doing the job of God? Right? So it is till the time we are not affected, we will curse. We will, we have 1,001 complaints against our nation, and we keep cribbing all the time. But when you are in trouble, you will know that only your nation can take care of it. So the country is God. And your question was?
What is that one quality he or she should possess?
Yeah. So the moment you realize and start worshipping your country, okay, and think that, okay, I will do anything for my country because my country takes care of me. It is not one way, it is two way. There is a Kargil wounded veteran who lost his leg during the Kargil war and runs with a blade. He's the first blade runner in India, Major DPC, my senior. So he, in one of the programs, while we were discussing this, he said, do you know your he asked a question like I asked you. He asked a question to the entire audience. Do you know your fundamental rights? And everyone's hand was up. This was again in an educational institution. Then he asked them, do you know your fundamental duties? Right? And very few hands were up, and they were also no clueless. Right? So then he said, it is always give and take. You give something to your country, then you take it from there. So when a citizen realizes this, when a wounded veteran who's lost his leg and he has not been completely supported by the government, he's not given his due compensation. Still, he feels that I must still give my best to the country and take whatever it offers me. This is what makes a person a true patriot.
Very beautifully said. Really, it's inspiring me so much. And I think so will the students see. So, sir, how do you think we can foster and promote love for our nation in the hearts
Okay.
of students, because this is in lines with what we're speaking right now.
Correct.
Much beyond. And being good citizens of India, how can they emerge successful in our country?
Right. So when you talk about the younger generation, um, um, or even the current generation, the current, let's say the parents. So the gap today is that we look at alternatives when we have a problem. When we have a problem, alternative places, like we always start comparing our place with some other developed nation, and then say, okay, fine, to hell with India, and I'm living there. Right? That is the attitude that we currently have. What we must also understand is every country has their own problem. Now you must have seen riots in US, which erupted after this killing by the policeman. Now there was looting. There's such an advanced country with educated people looted left, right, and center. I don't think that would happen in India at the moment, because we have some fear of law. But there was absolutely nothing in UK too. People literally walked in and walked out with whatever available in the shops and all that. There was literally looting and riots everywhere, and you are witnessing a lot of things, a lot of issues there too. So first is we must stop comparing. Number one, we must stop comparing, because you go there and you'll know what is their problem.
Like they always say, grass is greener on the other side. So
Yeah, exactly, and exactly. The parents should stop doing that. Particularly, the parents should stop doing that. Parents, and I don't know about the teachers, because the teachers are normally a little standard on such things. There's thanks to the teachers that we still have a little bit of patriotism surviving, because it's only in the schools that we talk about patriotism, otherwise nowhere else. But at homes, this is a must. We must first stop comparing, first stop cursing, first stop cribbing, and look at these issues, these drawbacks, as what do you call, opportunities, right? As opportunities, because every drawback that we can take up and find a solution becomes an opportunity for us, right? If there is no drawback, if there is no problem, if there is no issue, there is no opportunity. It's as simple as that. So this is the mindset, the attitude that we need to build in the younger generation, for which the parents need to transform. Anybody talking against a nation must be stopped then and there. There is this off late. There is this anti-Indian and the pro-Indian. All these debates going on. But there is such thing called anti-Indian. Right? Any negativity against a nation, then you tell them, you are the owner, you find the solution, and it is possible.
Yeah.
Okay, going forward, I can discuss with you how it is possible also in a few sectors, but it is possible.
Amazing. So, sir, when we spoke yesterday,
Yeah.
your idea on how, as citizens, as students or future entrepreneurs, can contribute to entrepreneurial ventures in the defense industry for government, seemed very exciting, actually. So, could you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, I'll tell you how much I know, because I never got into the depths of it. But this was a shocking thing to me too. Okay, because I've been also reading in the media, and we know that there is a defense park coming up in Coimbatore, and Coimbatore is one of the chosen places, and a huge land has been allocated for that. So off late, somebody walked into my office. One of my friends walked into my office saying that he's going to invest in it. And then I said, okay, but I don't have any clue. He said, no, you find out from your boys, or your course-mates or your seniors or whoever. I said, I can do that, but do you have any? I mean, can you give me some hint? So, which was when he opened up a complete, literature on this, and then I saw very shocking things, like this defense had already released something called a problem paper. Okay, so the defense ministry has released something called a problem paper, where they have listed out their technical issues, as on date in equipments, be it vehicles or arms and ammunitions. They have listed out the problems and they have sought their solutions, technical solutions, and they have also invited applications from those who have it and can match the requirement. And if they qualify, they will be funded. They will be funded, and they can take this up as a entrepreneurial venture, which is huge. Any of these runs into crores. Pick any, it runs into crores, and that's what you take home also, right? And that's the scale of the project. So he was talking, and this particular gentleman picked up a few, and he said he's ready to invest about 500 crores or so. And I was like, sir, I'm reading this for the first time. Let me get into it. And then that's what is there. That's what is there. And this information is circulated by the local Codicia. Right, we have a industrial wing here, which actually handles this. So it's not come from Delhi; it's come from Delhi to Codicia, and Codicia has shared this information with all the prospective entrepreneurs here. So such is the reach. So the government is very keen, be it any government for that matter, they are very keen that they want to indigenize most of the productions. Number one, and you must have heard a news of late by the Raksha Mantri where he completely stopped the import of about 100 critical equipments and weapons. So they want to indigenize most of the requirements of the defense forces, number one. And they also want to find alternative solutions instead of procuring them from abroad, from within, from prospective young minds who have alternative solutions to the problems that we have. And they've opened it out. They've opened it out. Where else you can find it? It's happening in India now. And we have so many engineers and so many engineering colleges in Tamil Nadu, and we have quite a lot of them applying for sweepers, profile, which we are also reading in the newspaper of late. So there is a gap. There is a huge gap. Now someone has to mentor these chaps and connect them to what is available, and they will go places.
I think you'll be a great person to do that.
Sorry.
I think you'll be a great person to do that as well.
Yeah, so I am more into the career part of it because that's my expertise, and I made it 3 times. In fact, you should also know that why I chose to train these youngsters to join the armed forces is because after I'm an engineer myself, I'm a civil engineer, and way back in '99, while I was only in 3rd year, I appeared for this very competitive exam called Services Selection Board, with nobody in my family in the uniform services, absolutely no background, no backing. In fact, they were all against me. That's the trend here in Tamil Nadu, where people standing, people don't want you to take any risky profiles. They consider these risky, but the reality is everywhere there's a lot of risk than in the armed forces. Yeah. So I appeared for this examination, and I was one among the 40 out of a few lakhs from the entire India to get selected, and I also stood all India number 1 in the merit. Right. Yeah, thank you. So this happened while I was in the 6th semester. 6th semester was 19 years. So, and my appointment order was there when I was in the 7th semester. It was displayed all over my college, right? And so I also managed to clear this same examination 3 times for 3 different entries, right? So I got the confidence from the first one and appeared again and again. I cleared it. And what my ultimate learning from this this adventure, or you could say this venture, is that India is a very, very fair country. It's a very fair country. There's equal opportunity for everyone. You need not have any background. You need not belong to a particular religion or a community or a language. You don't need anything. You just need to be an Indian, and then you have the merit. You'll be in. Right. So this is when I thought, and then when I had come out, because of a medical issue, when I resigned and came out, and then I took to a normal profile, I realized this has still not reached many engineers for that matter, and they still had their misconceptions like only North Indians can make it, only family of defense personnel can make it. So I started connecting that. And then it became a full-time profile. So that's my expertise as of now. Otherwise, I would have got into probably any of these defense productions. So, but I can definitely connect you to the concerned people who are assigned this profile if there are interested entrepreneurs, and many of them have already taken it up.
That's amazing. So,
Yeah.
if you know any, like if you have seen any of this patriotism-led innovation that has kind of sparked your interest, could you share that with us?
In the sense, you're talking about in innovation.
Yes. Yeah.
In technical innovations.
Technical innovation, and if someone has contributed to the defense industry.
Yeah. Okay, I will talk about my own boy. Okay, his name is Captain Raj Prasad, and he was out in the media, so I'm revealing the name. Otherwise, which it's supposed to be kept confidential. This fellow is Captain Raj from the Indian Army, who is a young engineer, a postgraduate from Anna University, who specializes in artificial intelligence and all that. And he got into defense force at almost at the fag end of his eligibility, 27 years. Okay. And after he made it inside, post his training and all that, people understood his expertise, and he also started presenting a lot about what he could do. And they immediately picked him up and put him as an instructor in the College of Military Engineering, where the young army officers are, undergo their course to proceed further. So this chap in College of Military Engineering, which is one of the highly advanced facilities of the Indian Army, developed so many things. He developed artificial intelligence to identify, any landmines, robots, which can drones, which can venture into very risky areas where soldiers might be at high risk. And one of them is the last of them as on date is a ventilator, right? Because of this COVID issue. And this, he did not do it here. He did not do it sitting in the comfort of College of Military Engineering, but by then he was posted in one of the forward posts in the border of Kashmir. I can't tell you which place. And sitting there, which is a completely inhospitable place, with whatever resources available, he developed a ventilator because he really wanted to do something to stop the suffering of the people. Because the ventilators were, I hope you remember, like when this COVID thing broke out, everyone's worry was about the ventilators, the shortage of it. So he developed it, whatever available, a mechanical respiratory support system, which on ground costs only about 7,000 rupees, right, as on date. And then he immediately shared the technology with me and said, "Sir, get somebody to manufacture it because I'm sitting in Kashmir." So I had to identify, and it's not my cup of tea. So I had to identify such a potential industrialist, and we caught hold of one industry here called high-tech engineers, and we shared the technology. And now we are manufacturing ventilators for the Indian Army as well as for the other public here in Coimbatore. It's happening as on date. So let's forget about. Let's forget about equipments which destroy. We are also into manufacturing equipments which construct, which save lives, and it's happening here. And you will be proud if I can show you that the equipment has a label of high-tech engineers on one side and the Indian Army on the other side.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is very incredible, actually. Impeccable achievement, I would say.
Yeah.
A lot of us actually during these last 6 months, we would have been thinking about how do we develop our untouched skills and all that.
Right.
But there are people also, who are very true patriots like you. Who are
yeah. But look at him. I'm really proud of this fellow. He's an inspiration to me. Look at him sitting in the forward post where he's countering the enemy and also developing something for our own people. To save our own people. So that's the kind of patriotism that runs in our blood.
Very inspiring, and I'm sure, like all of us, we're all sparked with energy listening to this, and from now on, we'll know that we always have this patriotism in our heart, and think about what we can always give, and then eventually,
Correct.
I think giving itself is such a huge thing, and you take happiness back and fulfillment back.
Exactly. And like I told you, Call it karma or call it Newton's reaction. If you give, you'll definitely be rewarded someday. Right? And and all of us are not going to have a smooth sail. Someday we too will crash land, and we will require someone's shoulders. And that is when you will get someone's shoulders without you asking for it.
You should never think about take first. But
we should give first. Yeah, we should always give first.
Amazing, sir. So thanks for sharing that. And moving on to the next question.
Yeah.
No nation can progress without the youth carrying the zeal of the country. And while we have a notable number of youngsters creating an impact in the society today, also like a story you've shared, we can still find many youngsters in our country who are reluctant to take responsibilities for improving our society. So it could be defense or any industry actually, and could be even cleanliness or keeping our India clean, with having such young population in the whole of India. I'm sure we can create a bigger impact if we have more youth. So what is your take on it?
Okay. Now, first of all, we must compliment that 1% or 2% who are already doing it. You will also agree with me that there are a lot of youngsters who have taken to some social work or the other, be it cleaning. Like, I could recall instantly I could connect to cleaning. Many of them have taken up this Swachh Bharat quite seriously. There are a lot of NGOs which are encouraging youngsters. A lot of NGOs are created by youngsters these days. So we must compliment them, but that is hardly 0.1%, I would say. That's a problem. Right? So that's hardly 0.1 or a little more than that. And 99% is idle. Either idle or cursing. Either on the negative side or neutral side. Right? So that's the issue. And the one of the main reasons is that the media doesn't project. Media has of late started projecting these unsung heroes, but it is again not reaching to the extent that all these celebrities and these heroes or so-called movie heroes and others are reaching the crowd. These good deeds and these heroes, these unsung heroes, don't reach all of them as a role model. There are many to copy X in a movie, but there are not many who can copy a real good deed, because that fellow is not being projected as a hero, right? Or he may be projected, but in one corner. If you see the media also, he will be in the paper, let's say, that particular good news will be one corner or in the second page or the last page, but one controversial or one, some news on some celebrity will be on the first page, blown up. So probably in the commercial interest. But once the media, or let's forget the existing media, I think we should all open up, parallel medias. Which, because we cannot. One thing I can see is we can never, bring in any change in the existing media. They're gone cases. So we can start up some parallel medias, and we can start highlighting these guys and start projecting them as role models. And that is when many of them will take to, because once you know that you are there when you do this and you can go places, then many of them will take to it. So it is actually by encouraging, by giving them what do you call recognition, we can bring them up. Otherwise, we can never get the youth involved. by advising, or by trying to give them a long yarn, I think we will discourage them further. That's what is happening today. Yeah.
So here I actually wanted to share my personal experience.
Yeah.
So I used to be I did my undergraduation in Canada, and during that time I had a very valuable moment when our Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, visited Vancouver in Canada, and I had the honor to actually meet him for about 15 minutes one-on-one. And that time I was sharing my passion for social entrepreneurship, and that I want to come back to India and give back to the society and everything. And I promised him that I will take part in his Swachh Bharat mission, and as we are running schools, we have the advantage of inspiring young children to also get on board with this mission.
Yeah.
So once I got back, I somehow met the CCMC corporation
Commissioner.
authorities and the commissioner and the Swachh Bharat ambassadors, and we started. We adopted as a school. We adopted a ward, and we've been working the children together. So children, parents, teachers, all of us got together, and we started actually spreading awareness to the households.
That's great.
And how you should be segregating waste, and you shouldn't litter when you're, walking in the public properties or places. And individually, we should be responsible for our garbage. And so it's just, I'm so happy that, in the last 1 year, we've been able to contribute and together as a school.
Yeah, that's lovely. And it's a small initiative which has become grown up today. Yeah, great.
Definitely. And along with that, we've done some afforestation, planted trees and everything. So these moments like these, I think if there are more children throughout India who can get connected with such stories and they start doing things, this is the right age for them to develop.
Exactly.
Love for their nation, love for their environment. And then when they become the future pillars for a country, I think they're going to make bigger impact.
Yeah. I mean, that's something lovely because you have an entire army with you. you can in fact change an entire village or a couple of villages. And so it is these, choosing to interview someone like me itself, like I told you in the beginning, is something that you are trying to set, is a standard, an example you are trying to set. So hats up to you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
So, and another thing I want to share is these children have actually changed the behavior of their family. So it's something really hard, right?
Yeah.
Adults, we always have trouble changing behavior towards the environment within the adults, but then the children, when they go back home and say, no, please don't do this, the parents listen and they support them. So I think,
they don't have a choice. And in fact, it works. The reverse works. In fact, if you try to educate the parents and and then make them pass it on to the children, I think mostly we end up in failure. But the other way works actually. Yeah.
So today, I think even with your story, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of inspiration happening.
Hopefully, hopefully. In fact, the government has done something lovely. The state government of Tamil Nadu, they chose to record a video of mine about the career prospects in the armed forces about 6 years back, if I remember, and then I thought they're going to air it on some TV or whatever. But what they did is they put it on the hard disk of all these free laptops which they distribute to the children, government school and aided school children. And the last 5 years, this 1 hour speech of mine has reached out to all the Tamil Nadu government and aided school students. So they've all viewed it, whether they like it or not. They viewed it. Most of them have seen the complete thing, and I get a lot of inquiries and a lot of questions from them, or they know me at least. So the government is silently doing a lot of things. There are so many to crib and curse the laptops or the freebies, but you must know that they are also doing a lot of transformation because someone sitting in a tribal village does not have internet access to go to YouTube and see whatever is required. So when the laptop is given to him and it is in his hard disk, then he can see it whenever he wants. So that's something that the government is doing. And you must understand, we must all know that this current year, there was a visually challenged girl who cleared the IAS by name Purna Sundari from Madurai, and whom I had the opportunity to also train. Now, this girl gave the complete credit to the government laptop, because she couldn't afford one. And using that, she was able to download a lot of information and prepare for the civil services. Yeah. So this is why I'm saying that we shouldn't completely be focused on blaming the country, because they're doing their, whatever bad is also there, but there's a lot of good is also happening.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years back, I would have had that notion as well. But when I got into the field, seeing more people getting involved, I was quite surprised. And I think that was the moment I dropped the idea of complaining about it.
Correct. Exactly.
Stop complaining and just start contributing.
Yeah. Hopefully it gets contagious.
Yeah. So moving on to the next question. Sir, do you feel that if India were to create a national service system, and the ones in Taiwan, Singapore, and South Korea, we know that it's mandatory service. So the youngsters of tomorrow, as well as the nation, would benefit from such a system. Do you think they would?
Okay. First of all, let us understand. Do you know where our defense ranks? Our Army, Navy, Air Force. What is the ranking in the entire world? Roughly?
Fifth.
We are definitely in the top 5. Yes, you're right. We are definitely in the top 5. In certain aspects, we are number 4. In certain aspects, we are number 3. In certain aspects, we are number 1 also. Okay, and in one aspect, we are number 1. In one particular aspect, we are number 1. And you know what is that? We are the largest voluntary force in the entire world.
Wow.
Now that word voluntary is the most powerful term here. Every soul who serves the nation in uniform, be it what do you call Jawan at the bottommost level to the general at the topmost level, has volunteered to serve the forces. Nobody had forced him. So we will retain it. It's a democratic country, and people have their rights to choose whatever they want to. Let it remain. Only thing is we can create interest. because there's a reason, and that is the reason, since it is a completely voluntary force, that is the reason why men in uniform don't hesitate to give their lives. Nobody forced them. If you think, if I force you and make you wear the uniform for whatever reason, for whatever benefits that you may derive out of it, will you give me your life when it is required? Not when it is not required, but when it is required, you don't have a choice. Will you really sacrifice your life for the nation?
Not if I don't have interest or the passion.
So if you have not volunteered for something, if you're not passionate about anything, about something, will you do it? You won't do it. And that is why our officers lay their lives. Now, you would have seen in the recent Galwan attack, there's a colonel who laid his life. You think, why will a colonel who has put in about 20 years of service be in the front and lead his men and take the hit? That's because he volunteered. And why will the men again suffer the same? Because they also volunteered. Right? So we will remain a powerful force till the time we have voluntary men and women in them. So let us retain it, and that's our identity. And we are the largest democracy, so let's also hold on to those values.
Wow, that's amazing, and proud to be an Indian.
We must,
Doing this.
So what we can do is, if we really want to create the interest in youngsters to join the forces, then we can tell them. We should not. In fact, many places when I go and talk, they say so and so has come, or Lieutenant Esan has come to encourage you. So I immediately said, no, I'm not here to encourage anyone. I'm here to rather discourage and tell you the facts. And still, if you really want it, because see, it is all about striking a chord. Like when you come to know what is what of any career, and then you feel, oh, this is where I belong, and then that's it. So you must reach it. You must tell this to everyone. So reaching this option to everyone will do, and we will have many more who will wear the uniform and serve the nation. So I think that is the good way to set a standard in our youth.
Very true. Thank you for beautifully saying that, sir. And so I'm moving on to a couple of questions from the students.
Yeah. Before that, can I show you a couple of pictures? Because I didn't want to interrupt in between.
Sure.
But I am carrying some pictures to illustrate whatever I have shared. So that's me.
Nice.
Yeah, that's me when I was 5 years old. And if you wonder why I'm showing the snap, if you take a closer look, if I zoom it, you'll be seeing that I'm wearing a dress which says Army.
Amazing. So you had
God knows, but my parents, though my parents were against me joining the forces after I joined, and I was successful in molding so many youngsters. Then they took up this picture again and then showed it to me and said, "You always had it in you." Yeah. So they said I had requested for this dress. I had in fact I threw tantrums and bought this dress and then insisted they take a photograph. So these are some of the youngsters I was talking about, the role models, the youth who are in uniform in all the forces. You can see a variety of uniform. They are Army, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. So I've just put a collage of it. Not everyone is here, but some of the best are here. And these are some of the highlights among them. This girl is from Theni in Andipati. Sorry, Andipati in Theni district. And she happens to be a farmer and also first generation graduate who is the only lady officer or the first lady officer from that part of Tamil Nadu for the Indian Army. She's just 23 now. Okay, and she is a lieutenant in the Indian Army from Theni. And she chose to break all barriers. In fact, they would have got her married soon after engineering, but then she kind of, hid everything from home. She never revealed that she was going for the armed forces, attended 3 interviews without their knowledge and made it. So that's why I always used to say there are girls who run away from home with their boyfriend, who would elope from home with their boyfriend. And here is a girl who eloped from home to join the army. Yeah. So these are the 2020 hot shots. If you can see from the left, we have a naval aviator. His name is Manoj. His mother is a single mother working with the corporation school in Coimbatore. And he is made it to the Navy as an aviator. In fact, there are only 7 of them in his batch in the entire India. And he's one among the 7. The next is the lady is from Kanyakumari. And she is also a 2020 hotshot for the army. And Director General Shailendra Babu sir, biggest inspiration for all these youngsters. And then to the other end is Kiran, who is All India #1 rank for the Indian Military Academy and is again from Coimbatore. His mother works as a corporation engineer. Okay, and this is the ultimate guy whom I wanted to. In fact, I took this very presentation for showing this fellow. Are you there with me?
Yes.
Yeah. So this guy, his name is Isaki Arasan. He's from Viluppuram. And this guy chose to, though he's a farmer, he lost in farming. They lost in farming, sold off their lands, and were in agriculture trading, vegetable trading. So he chose to finish his engineering and tie up with a few farmers, help them with seeds and technology, and develop them, and even sold their harvest and made farming profitable for them. But what I'm going to tell you will actually shock you to the core, will thrill you to the core, because this fellow is a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force now. Yeah. So he is probably the first farmer to fighter pilot in the entire India. You must have heard of so many people becoming fighter pilots, but he's the first farmer to fighter pilot, and he's my boy. In fact, my own junior from my college also. So he's the one. His name is Isaki Arasan. So these are the heroes that we must be taking to the youth and showing them. And this is the satisfaction we derive. If I have to show you only one snap, which you also showed in the video, this is when we rescued a 40-day-old baby from a hillock, which was about to collapse in a landslide. And then we carried the baby in a boat and brought it home safe after 5 kilometers of traveling through river. And the selfie which was clicked when we brought the baby back safely by the public there came in the Indian Express and so many other Kerala media. And that was the most satisfactory moment. I think making any amount of crores will not equate this. The last one I wanted to show all the youngsters who are watching here. If you think these guys are college kids, they are as powerful or as young as college kids at heart, but they're all young Army and Navy officers. They were with me in a rescue operation in Calicut last year, same time. And this was after the operation, after the collector asked us to stay back for some time because he suspected heavy rains. So we went to the beach because we normally couldn't sleep in the day. So we went to the beach and just took a selfie, and it came out so well. And then we decided to put a title to it, and this is the title we gave. Um, yeah, we said "Enga Pullinga Ellam Bayangaram." because there are so many who claim they are Bayangaram, but the real Bayangaram are these guys, right? And they are all from very humble backgrounds. They are all, most of them, from Coimbatore and villages in various parts of Tamil Nadu. And this was my Women's Day message. If you see, to my right is a girl from Theni who is an army officer, and the left is a girl from Kanyakumari who is also an army officer. And they happen to be one among the 40 in the entire India, and the only ones from Tamil Nadu, showing these youngsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing them, sir.
Yeah.
In fact, I was just about to ask an interesting story from when you rescued someone during disaster times. I think the little child.
Yeah, that little child by itself. It's a baby boy, 40-year-old, and the father was there at the other end of the town looking for help, and they could not bring the baby out, though it was heavily pouring, because 40-year-old baby will not survive that cold. But at the same time, part of their house had collapsed, and they were sitting in one corner of the house where the roof was still there. Okay, so that was the condition. So we had to rush before anything could happen, and rush means that we had to take a road, partly by road, partly by boat, and cross through a river and a lake, and then reach the bottom of the hillock, and then climb up, trek up, and then grab this baby and then come down, and we have to wrap it. In fact, it'll be very interesting if I tell you that I had to, because all of the standard operating procedures, I have to give them each a life jacket the moment you bring them to the waters. So we had to wrap it in the smallest life jacket possible, 40-year-old baby, and then keep him covered as to keep him as warm as possible. And finally, I had to handle the baby because I was the only father in the entire group, the entire team. So I have the experience of handling my son. So I said, okay, let me carry him, and then carried him all the way back. So that was a fantastic moment, and he was heavily fortified. I don't think any baby would have been rescued by 2 Navy officers and 1 Army officer.
Very true.
Who are commanders, who are commanders by themselves. Each one of them leads about 500 men, and they were carrying this baby. So it was a great experience.
Those up will definitely have.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I hope people share this episode with them.
Sir, and this is a question from our SSVM family again.
Yeah.
So, who is Lieutenant Esan as a commander and as a person leading a normal life?
Okay. See, I'm most of the time into training. So it's only when these disasters happen that I'm commanding these rescue operations. So as a trainer, also I would call myself a training commander, because those are my inspiration. When I was in training in the armed forces, my training commanders were my inspiration. So and the only thing that I learned from the armed forces is, if you have to be a good trainer, you need to show it by action. You need to be. If you say that if you ask your boys to sprint, then you must be better than them in sprinting. If you ask your boys to let's say climb, you must be better than them. You must be 1 inch better than them. So that's what I learned from my instructors, and I used to follow it till date. So as a training commander, or as a commander of rescue operations, I ensure that I'm in the front. I'm in the front, and if everybody's wet, I'm the wettest. Right? If there's heavy downpour and people are shivering, because it happens after 22 hours in water, and then you don't know what happens to your body. You will suddenly develop fever. So many things happen. So I take everything up front and lead my men, so they know that I'm suffering equally or even more. So that's something that, and I keep them happy. Even though we are in the middle of the disaster, there are so many things that we would discuss in between this and that, and then keep our Josh alive. So that is what is me as a commander. And at home, I can't be all that. I'm the child to my parents and a father to my son. But end of the day, if you because my parents have no expectations from me, but my son does, and I have to. So at the end of the day, if you really want someone to, you want to set an example for someone, then you need to do it yourself. If you tell your son to get up in the morning and work out, then you need to be getting up half an hour in advance and doing it actually. You need to be lifting more than him or running more than him to make him understand that he has to match you at least, right? So that's what is my request to all the parents too. That instead of gyan, you must show it, demonstrate.
Definitely, that action speaks.
Yeah. Action speaks. Action speaks. And my son is still trying hard to compete with me.
Oh, wow. So you truly inspire us in so many ways, actually. You play a role as a commander, a leader, a parent, and as a true patriot, you really inspire us so much. And I'm sure you will be continuing to inspire us as we follow your story.
Yeah. Actually, I'm glad that you quote me as an inspiration, but but the fact remains that we need to be our own inspiration. If I really focus on inspiring someone or impressing someone, then it will not last. So if I've been doing so many things for so many years consistently, that's because I am my own inspiration, right? So every time I look back and I think, okay, I've done this and I need to do more, then that's what pushes me more than these, lovely compliments. Nevertheless, thank you for everything. But I'm just telling you that that's reality. We must understand that more than the external influence or external encouragement. We are our best encouragement.
Amazing. I was just about to ask a punchline message, but I think you already.
Yeah, you can take that. Yeah. So, inspire ourselves. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much, sir. We'll definitely follow that.
Thank you.
I have to be grateful to you for giving us this time on this very special occasion.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Many other responsibilities today. So I cannot thank you enough, actually, for taking this time and speaking with me and the children who are all listening to you. So
thank you very much, and thank you. It's an honor that you have chosen me to be here with your folks and with your team. Because there are so many, like I always mention, there are so many. There's a wide choice for you, so it's really it speaks of your standards. And please keep it up, and please keep encouraging your. Please show the right role models to your children. That's the minimum that we can do. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Happy Independence Day again.